Anything else going on of interest?
What's that, Jim?
Anything else going on of interest?
Nah. Price of oil is way up, so that's kind of good to see.
Yeah, well,
Real glad I bought that truck.
Hey, you're supporting your dad. It's kind of nice. It's kind of a new concept for you, Chris. I know.
reverse foreign aid. So anything else? Anybody go to the game on Saturday? I didn't go.
Yeah, I went.
How was it? I mean, I know we won just.
Yeah, that's missed opportunities. But yeah.
I went to the wrong one.
No, it's all good. Then went out with those guys down to the bar, and they had a fun time here. So
Did what was the other guy's name? Peter? Did he did he
yeah,
even get into the bar?
yeah. Turns out he's 29.
He's 29?
Yeah, right.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so he was there. He had a fun time. It was his first, like, I guess he was. They had been like sending him to like Lithuania and like Latvia and all these other places, and he was all set to decline the appointment. And they're like, actually, would you like to go to Denver, Colorado? And he's like, yes. I will definitely take that assignment. So.
Who was that?
The international AR.
Oh, this last weekend. Okay.
Yeah.
What I heard from Sean Gallagher is that Ireland couldn't find anyone to go, and they pretty much were forcing people to go.
That's probably why he was going.
Did everybody watch the Canada-Chile game? Not that you would, but
I did not.
How was it?
it's a gang fight.
Was it really?
Just brutal.
Who won?
So the score of 5 minutes ago is Chile's up 21-19. Chris awards a penalty to Canada 4 meters to the left of the post on the 5 meter line. Canada, down by 2 points, elect a scrum. There's a scrum. Play continues again. They get another penalty. Now with 4 minutes to go, on the other side of the post, Canada chooses a scrum. They lose the scrum. Uruguay or Chile kicks away, kicks the ball down. Canada's coming back. Canada gets penalized for something. 22 meters out from Chile's defending goal line. It's full time, or 30 seconds to go. Chile decides to, instead of just hoof the ball down and maybe just play some defense and just try and do what you can, they don't quick tap penalty. So sorry, they don't kick the ball out. They do a quick tap penalty, and then play continues, and they do an attacking ceiling to give Canada a kick in front of the post at 2 minutes after 80, and then Canada wins the game. It was shocking. I don't know what it takes to be an international coach, but I think all of us have the goods.
Was
Who was the
there any,
referee, Mark?
Chris Busby,
Did
Irish guy.
the Chileans say anything after the game?
Oh, so normally I'm pretty quick to get all my gear packed up, and I only had like a luggage bag. I couldn't beat the referees out of the changing room. Like they let out like I don't know, and then they immediately went to the restaurant, and then I don't know what happened to them. They did not want to see the Chilean team, and they were in the same hotel, which probably isn't the greatest idea, is to put the team in the same hotel as the referees. But what can you do?
Right. Okay, it's 5 after. I guess let's go. Let's hang on. I'll share the agenda here. All right, so kind of same format as always. I'll start. Just wanted to clarify something with Rugby Colorado. There's some confusion, or maybe we don't have the full story about some games last week, just about the Tri-League. So Tri-League is for kids who are basically under high school, so middle school and younger, so 5 to 14 roughly. And they are part of Rugby Colorado. And if they're playing a game, they are sanctioned, they're covered under insurance, all those things. We are certainly allowed to referee Rugby Colorado matches and the Tri-League matches too. So there's that. The women's national team is playing 2 test matches in November against Canada, both times, November 1st and November 5th. And we have been asked to supply a referee liaison. We did for the last, I think I spelled that wrong, but we supplied one for the last match, the last 2 actually. And so Cameron Pettit did the one last week. So just to be transparent before someone volunteers, it's several airport runs. I think he made a total of 6 airport runs. I know, Mark, you've done this, you can speak to it as well. I know you're doing a bunch in Canada. So it's basically, it's not just the assignment is billed as taking the international referees to and from the airport, but really it's also anyone USA kind of sends here. So you could be the sub manager or the team doctor, other folks like that. So you don't have to make all those runs yourself, but we really could use someone to sort of manage that, be the coordinator, and just arrange rides for people who need them for those matches. So I know I didn't sell it, but wasn't trying to be honest about it. But if anyone has wants to be part of that, you certainly get a free game at interest of the game, and then just do those duties through the week. The international referees usually arrive on the Monday before the match, and then most everyone, the runs happen the next day after the match on Sunday. So that's roughly.
I don't think they're going to arrive the Monday before. That's only after travel, and this one's coming from Canada, so I think she's coming in maybe a few days before.
Okay, fair enough.
Paul, do you know if these are they both international referees?
The only information I was given so far is TBD. So I don't know. It could be an American referee, but I don't know that for a fact. Either way.
Cool.
I think one is Canadian and one's American.
Yeah. So they will, even so, like Scott Green arrived from Texas. So, he was one of the pickups, for example. He's here in America, in the US, but he was one of the pickups for the stuff. So anyway, it's a chance to meet some people for sure, and just coordinate that. And again, you don't have to do all the hotel to airport runs, but just be the person to kind of schedule those and manage them. So there's that. Dan, I don't know if you're there, if you can see the screen. If not, I can just kind of carry on with this update we heard from about the registration and some of the CIRA teams out there.
I am here, and I am off my double muting as well. So thank you. Yeah, so some folks had asked about like registration and insurance status. I forwarded that inquiry on to USA Rugby regarding CIRA in particular, because I already knew the answer for NCR. So back to the earlier piece, just reinforcing what Paul was just saying. Yes, the stuff that we are seeing from Rugby Colorado or from the folks at Tri, they will be registered with USA Rugby, so they're covered with all the insurance. When I asked about CIRA, the answer I received was that, quote, some of the teams are not fully registered. And I asked which ones, and they said you should talk to CIRA. That to me isn't a really good answer, and I've let them know that, because CIRA has an obvious vested interest and conflict of interest in self-reporting. That's why self-reporting doesn't work unless you have large financial incentives behind it, which we don't. So if you are talking to them, my advice would be to make sure that you receive assurances of some sort that you are willing to take into court if you get sued because someone breaks their neck. Not kidding, I have been sued because someone broke their neck. And so that's what you're dealing with. And I do not know if they are, I don't know who is fully registered. I do not know who is not fully registered. I cannot get an answer to that. So as we say in America, caveat emptor, except that you're not buying anything, you're selling the refereeing. So just be aware of that and ask at some kind of assurance. A few other things that didn't make it onto the list here when we got, or actually prior to that, any questions? Jim, don't worry about when I got sued. It's 20 years ago. So there we go. I'm sorry, I thought that went out on the big chat, but it's all good. Things are taken care of, but I would not want to go through the experience again. Anybody else have any other questions? Can drop it into chat, or you can pop it up on here.
Dan, I don't know if this is related or not, but we've had some big issues trying to get rosters off of USA's website. Has that been addressed with them at all?
I've asked them, and it's a functionality thing in Sport Llama, is my understanding. I wouldn't plan on that getting fixed anytime soon.
Okay.
So, okay. Other stuff. Was out at the camp. Some of you probably heard Marquise talking about it if you're up at Aspen or have seen the emails about it. So flew out there on Friday, talked with some of the regional development group, the folks that they're focusing on, and also talked with the leaders from around the Western Territory. So like Nick Racono down in SoCal and with Sevens, Pete Smith out of NorCal, Jeff out of the Pac Northwest. Cleo was not there, unfortunately. And then I was here representing Rocky Mountain Rugby refs. They're really looking for a couple things. This is gonna split and fork a couple times. The first part being, we're gonna get together as a group and get a lot more transparency around get a lot more transparency around who are getting what opportunities, why they're getting those opportunities, and how you can be on that list for the opportunities. So one of the big things we're probably going to see a lot of is exchanges with NorCal and Texas in January and February, because that's when they're really busy and we are not as busy, and that's when they can really use the help. So that's a big piece of what's going to start happening. We're trying to get a lot more just word out. So if you're available, you want to go on exchange, that's great. Exchanges are not limited exclusively to that regional development group. If you want to go to the national panel, you want to go up to the next level up. Obviously, that's going to be a big part of it, is being on the RDG. But if you just have been working your butt off locally and want to go catch a D2, D3 game or whatever in somewhere else, we can help you out with that. Yep, happy to do that too, Steve. I'll get to that one. So that's kind of where we're at on those exchanges. And pursuant to Steve's chat that just popped there, the exchanges are fully funded. We will send you down there. We do not pick up your drinking and fun things like that. But like your airfare, and usually you'll be hosted by another referee down in NorCal, Texas, wherever it happens to be. So if you are interested in going on exchange, one of the great ways to indicate that is by saying that you have a room available and you can also help host. Not a absolute qualifier, but it certainly makes it easier when we know we can reciprocate the hosting. For the camps, there are going to be more of them. Marquise has organized the first one, tried to get that going up there. The one in the East Coast, I hear, was canceled. I think there will now be one in the Southeast, if I remember right. And those are really trying to get that next generation brought together. So, Jonathan Kaplan said basically all of the top-rated refs in the MLR have been all the foreign refs, and he wants that to change. And so needs a wide body of people who are pushing that upper echelon up or out, so that they are then able to go ahead and start filling in those slots. And hopefully we start getting American names on the preferred list of reps from the MLR coaches and owners. So that is a big part, is having those camps and getting together for that. Typically, we will sponsor we being Rocky Mountain Rugby Referee Society, will sponsor up to about half of that. So when we are talking about things that your money goes to when you do games that are registered with Rocky Mountain Rugby refs, that's where a lot of that markup goes, is to cover travel costs, cover kit costs, cover all those kind of things. So when you are refereeing games that do not contribute to that kitty does not contribute back to you. But it's one of the great benefits that we have, is helping to cover those costs for people. Any questions on that piece? Because I got two other things. I just want to make sure we knock these down in order.
For people that are interested in the Southeast camp, that's in Atlanta, Georgia, and that is the weekend before Thanksgiving.
Yep. And those are by nomination. So if you are interested in that, please get hold of our friends Rick and Ryan to get nominated, etc., for that, or to have a discussion as to why that may not be appropriate this time in your development career. But anyway, they're the two to talk to: Rick Lammer, Ryan Haggerty. Other questions? Cool. One of the other topics that we talked about among that group, and actually internally as well, has been that one of the big issues that we take a look at is that the selection for high performance, and I am certainly as guilty of this as anything when I was the RDO, have really kind of been personality driven, as opposed to a structured or built performance metric or matrix, where people would take a look like, yeah, this person has it. No, this person doesn't quite have it. And working with some other folks is something actually Bill Cook brought up as well while we were at Aspen, and taking some of the training he has from his past experience in the military, where you have to have different members of a team with different skills on the team. And so he's going to be helping put together some of the ideas around that, as far as what are the right building blocks to have, not just in law, not just in fitness, but also in temperament, things like being able to de-escalate. And so more to come from that, but it's also something that's hugely of interest to like Pete, to Rakono, to the rest of us, because it's, well, quite frankly, it's not fair to people to be able to say, hey, you just don't have it quite yet, and not being able to describe what that, call it the X factor or whatever you want to. Not really fair to folks to not know how to develop those muscles. So that is one of the big things we want to get taken care of, and hopefully get sorted out prior to the spring season. So that's a great piece on the development front. Obviously, Rick and Ryan will be a part of that too, but it's going to be an entire West RDG. Well, that RDG is actually the referees, but it's going to be an entire focus for the Western group to make that happen for better transparency for everybody. So any questions on that piece? And then my final one. All right, the final piece is the national appointments. A lot of people have been asking, why are they flying people in to do this when we have people who are perfectly capable of taking sub-college here in Rocky Mountain Rugby? I talked to Jamie McGregor about it. He and I had a good chat for about an hour. You may remember Jamie from such appearances as the guy who was trying to reform the referee society prior to COVID and prior to the bankruptcy. He's back. He's just back in the sense of he's still in Australia, and he just gets to sleep really strange hours relative to his friends down there, because he has to deal with us like 14 hours offset. But anyway, Jamie is definitely doing this with a purpose and a vision. And when I talked to him, he said that ultimately you have to be able to know the entire law book. It's not just, the laws from number 9 down. And all the other ones are really the things that get handled when you're a sub-controller, when you're a timekeeper, when you're this, when you're that. And even at the fully professional levels, if you ever saw, pretty sure it was Wales, France, and the fiasco of Wayne Barnes sitting there dealing with people for 20 minutes while they couldn't figure out, can the sub come back on or not? Yeah, it's not a good look, but it's something that you need to be able to handle at the highest levels if things go sideways, and especially if you do happen to get an international appointment and you go somewhere that they don't have their stuff together, like say France or Wales in case of that Six Nations match. So, he is doing it with intention. It's not just trying to snub other folks, rather it is part of their development plan. And that's why you see a lot of those reserved for the local refs, but it's not just, a slap in the face of the local referee society. That's the reason why, and he feels pretty good about it. It made a lot of sense to me when he said, yeah, here's why we're doing it, and here's why those people are getting those matches. So any other questions about that or anything else that might be on your mind? I've got a kind of regular cadence going with both
Dan.
Jamie and John Kaplan. Yep.
Dan, this is Joe Zevin talking. That last bit there about international appointments, higher level appointments, rather going to people who aren't local. The solution there, folks, is learn the law. Spend some time with your law book. I know it's not popular, but spend some time with your law book. Take that complaint out of their equation. Over.
Okay, did anybody else have any other comments? Anything you'd like me to follow up with either Kaplan or Marquise or the other leaders of that small group? If not here, if something comes up, please email us at the exec committee email address so that it goes to all of the folks in the committee so that everyone's seeing what the concerns are and we make sure they get addressed. We want to make sure that y'all are seeing that your voices are being heard, that's being taken forward to the national office, and then making sure that y'all are getting answers too. And with that, I'm out. Thanks a lot, Paul. Back to you.
Thanks, Ken. All right. Recruitment retention. Ryan, did you get anything from Rick besides this piece of information, or is that it? I think that was it. So again, the level 1 is being offered on Sunday, October 24th. I don't have in front of me the current registration numbers, but as always, if you have somebody in mind, please get that over again to the exec committee and then funnel that through so that person kind of can be guided into the level 1 and then onto some actual opportunities to referee. Seems to work the best. And I think with that, Ryan, did you have anything else at all? Ryan Haggerty, you out there?
Can I ask one thing about the recruitment?
Sure, Don.
I had a assistant coach ask about that. So who would I turn it into?
We're just kind of doing it, just send to the exec at RockyMountainRefs.com.
Right.
And then Rick and or Ryan will reach out to them and kind of make sure they kind of have a partner or a buddy to help them out.
Okay.
And then, yeah. Any other questions about that? And this is usually the time of night that Ryan has to put his kid to bed. So I'm guessing that there's nothing else from recruitment retention. So kind of a short meeting this evening, but that's all I have. Unless other questions that are out there or things we need to look into for you.
Okay, one thing just came to me. If you are not being contacted by Wednesday evening for a Saturday game, please get hold of us at the exec committee so that we can contact whoever the commissioner for that league is so that they can live up to their end of the obligation. As generous and kind as some people have been in saying, oh, well, I'll just call the team, that is actually the worst way to solve this problem, because now you are training them that the next week they don't have to call, and rather some ref will have to sit here and create a bunch of work for themselves. It is literally the one thing they have to do is send out, an email or call you. That is like the only thing that needs to happen on the Wednesday. Let them do that part, please, so that you're not just kicking the can down to the next referee. But yeah, it's been happening across a lot of different leagues. If it happens in your game, please let the exec committee know, and we will get it sorted for you. Dale, I was getting ready orange. I'm not sure who is behind the keyboard on the joint sign on there, but I was getting ready to send you a note. But if that wasn't clear to everybody, the CIRA status. Oh, Angela, thanks. If you are asked to referee a game by CIRA, you're absolutely welcome to go and do that. You're an independent contractor. You are not an employee of Rocky Mountain Rugby Referees. You can do that. We do not stop you. There are no punishments for doing that. However, CIRA, those players, that team, the coaches, etc., may or may not be registered with USA Rugby. One of the things about being registered with USA Rugby is that they are the official sanctioning body for rugby in the USA. So if they are not registered with CIRA and they are playing a game, that is a non-sanctioned game, which puts your status as a registered referee, or the protections you get as a registered referee rather, in jeopardy. If someone breaks their neck in a CIRA game, you may be personally held liable, and there is no insurance in there. I'm not giving you legal advice. I'm not a lawyer. Jim is a lawyer. I doubt if he'd give you legal advice on this, because ultimately it's a civil matter and they can sue you for anything. It's a lot nicer when you have a pile of insurance and a lot of air cover in front of you dealing with that. So if you are going to referee a CIRA match, I would make sure and get some kind of assurance that they are registered with USA Rugby, because USA Rugby would not give me a blanket statement that CIRA teams are registered. So that's what we're taking a look at. And then, I'm sorry, what's the trial review question, Angela? Hit *6 if you're not, if you're trying to talk. There you go.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep, got you now.
Okay, so my understanding about this whole, kind of the basis, I guess basically across the board, I don't really feel like the information that I was ever given about CIRA, and then also the whole subsequent emails that came out from RMRR, I don't really, it's a bit of a disconnect. So I don't know if anybody else feels like that, or if everybody else has been having these sidebar meetings that they're, whether it be Ruggers Fest or other different matches. But I feel like the concept of what was going on with CIRA, which had more to do with, basically more type of a trial of training, like where you would be filmed, where you would be able to upload your clips or your film and have somebody looking at what you're doing or not doing and give you some constructive criticism so that you can actually move from one level to another. That was kind of the basic information that I was given on it, which I do think that's what it was intended for. And then all of a sudden I get these emails that are addressing it, like in a different way from RMRR. And I just feel like there wasn't a whole lot of transparency for anybody who was either contacted about the CIRA situation or that was involved with it at the beginning or came into it after that. So as RMRR, I feel like I would like a little bit more information on that. And then kind of going back to what we're doing, as a group ourselves, I'm not really understanding why something like that type of a fixture isn't being implemented. I mean, maybe I've been going to these meetings pretty nonstop. And so unless I'm completely missing it, I felt like this was an avenue that was like handy and at your fingertips versus maybe other things that have happened in the past. So I guess when I'm asking about that as a trial, I'm just kind of saying, well, and I don't know even who to speak to. So I guess I'm just saying it to everyone is like the transparency. And then also like, how do we get that implemented for either non-high level refs that aren't going to qualify a Jim Russell or somebody else coming out to our game to watch us do 15 minutes of a match. But at the same time, if we're trying to improve, then we need the tools in order to do that. I don't know if that's...
Nope, Angela, but that makes sense. I hear what you're saying. I think you're absolutely right. I think that the format for that was appealing, right? Because
very appealing.
Yeah, I think what happened with the disconnect there was that we then find out that the organizers of CIRA don't want to play by any of the norms of rugby that are required. i.e. they don't want to register their team with USA Rugby. They don't want to work with Rocky Mountain Rugby referees as an organization. And they want to do their own thing, make their own rules. And that's was a disconnect. So it's a fixture, it's happening. And, again, it's just, it comes at a risk though. And the risk is they don't have insurance and they're not covered under USA Rugby. So I agree that the idea though is great. And you're right. I think there's a lot of value to that. And we as an organization really need to think hard about that. How do we work and support, referees who aren't in that top 3 to 5%, referees who are working for a higher elite thing, because that's the bulk of the group, right? We really are providing support to local rugby, and a lot of it to youth rugby. Most games come from youth rugby. So yeah, that is something.
Exactly. And I think for us to be, out there, working hard towards getting better so that we give, whether it's high school girls, high school boys, whatever, or tri-league, a decent product, you're always up against learning, doing better. And then, of course you have everybody's eyes on you and everybody's, comments, whether, it's coming from coaches or, other players. I mean, I just feel like, the support that we need, whether it's for myself or, like one of the girls that I know is 16, that she started doing a little bit of tri-league. It'd be great to be able to have some sort of implemented program that, hey, maybe she would want to jump in if she knew she could get some filming and some support to do that. I don't know. I just see it as a valuable way of giving that extra support for people who are trying to learn and become better to support the local rugby.
Right. Well, your comment is, I hear your comment. I understand what you're saying, and
I also don't understand how CIRA cannot be. How are they getting by with not getting registered?
It's a very long political thing. I'd be happy to talk to you privately and explain what I know about it, but I don't have the full story. I'm not sure any of us do. But I would tell you offline. But yeah. Anyway,
all right.
I can do that.
That's fine. We can have that conversation at a later moment. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take up more time from your meeting.
No, not at all. That's great. And your comment, Angela, is welcome, because that's exactly what we need to hear. The the recruitment retention RDO group, that's what that group needs to work on. Clearly, I don't think you're the only one who thinks that format was of value and can help referees at all levels, especially beginning referees. So good. Thank you for speaking up.
You're welcome.
And just one quick note, I throw it out to everybody. We do have a blanket license for Advantage, which is the software to upload the games and everything into. And even if it's just part of the game or something like that, feel free to, yeah, absolutely, Emily, you're right. It is the society's meeting. Not Paul's, not mine. It is here for you. But yeah, you can upload part of a game. You can load up, if you get 15, 20 minutes or whatever it might be, you can get that put in there and send it out and say, hey, is there a coach who's available to take a look at this? So that is definitely available to you. It's not a requirement that it runs through some certain or special organization. That's one of the great things about having Advance there, and all the upgrades that Rich Every and his team have been doing to make it work.
If you can't, if for some reason your video is not, if you don't have a way to get video, contact me. I have a solo shot, walk you through how to set that up and videotape yourself.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate that. All right. Anything else out there? All right. Great to see some faces. Nice to see some names out there. Thanks for coming. I'll get the recording up onto the website for those of you who couldn't attend. And we will see you sometime soon, next month for sure. Good night, everybody.
Thanks all. Stay healthy.
Thank you all.
Wait, hang on a second. Katie, you got a question there? Let me look at that real quick. Okay, that's a good question. Let me
Take the money.
take the money. Dan, you able to see the chat there? I can't see it. From Katie. Katie, I will take that question. I will confirm with Dan and we'll get you an answer. All right. Thanks.
All right, sounds good. Looks like he did quickly reply before he hopped off.
Okay, let me look there then. Okay, that was from Steve.
Yeah, I mean, I know that particular coach said that game would be rescheduled. I don't know if they would just create a new game or how that would work since it was already passed. And now it's like, oh, like leave your feedback on how the game was, but the game didn't actually happen. So.
All right, yeah. So when that happens, they would reschedule it. That's up to the teams to do that. But so you're saying you went to the game and that it then went away? Like it didn't happen when it showed up?
So I bid on the game, emailed the coach because it was like the day before or so when it actually popped up in the RIF system. So there wasn't a whole lot of time for them to confer. Emailed the coach and she said it was canceled. Scheduling miscommunication. It's going to be rescheduled for XYZ date, but hadn't been changed in the RIF system. And it is still there. So when that time slot from when the original game was scheduled passed, that's when the RIF system was like, oh, now give the feedback since the game is over, even though the game never occurred. So I did not actually go there.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So again, they should be canceling that and ref up when that's supposed to happen. That's I've had a discussion with a couple of league commissioners already, and we just need to keep that working on that with them. So, and again, it should also then, so it's up to the user, the team to reschedule that and get it off ref up. So sorry about that, but that's a little thing. We'll also talk to ref up about that and see what that looks like from the user's end.
All right.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks. All right. With that, I think we're done. Thanks a lot, everyone.
Take care.